Coming to you live from Newcastle High School, home of the Trojans, and we've got a Hoosier Heritage Conference battle coming your way tonight on 9-Star TV. Newcastle, a record of 7-6, and the Greenfield Central Cougars are 8-1. 2-1 in the conference. Along with Rob Moorhead, I'm John Herrick. Thank you so much for being with us on this Friday night in this historic basketball venue, Rob. And boy, let's talk first about the visiting team. Greenfield Central, 8-1, off to their best start in 20 years.
They really are, and being led by Dylan Moses. He's a 6'3 senior guard, 22 points a game, shooting 52% from three-point range, John, having a great year. Also, you got Braylon Mullins, a 6'4 sophomore guard, averaging 15 points a game, a 42% three-point shooter. This team shoots a 41% clip as a team from three-point range. That's something Newcastle's going to have to be aware of tonight.
And Moles is committed to Marion University for next year. Now for Newcastle, they're coming off 2 straight overtime losses, but they've got a few guys who can score in double-figure points as well.
Led by Gavin Welch. Gavin Welch, the 6'6 senior, averages 18 points and 6 rebounds a ball game. Ethan Hinton, the 6'2 senior forward, he averages 14 points, and then Colin Taylor, a 6'2 junior, comes in with 12. And this is a ball club, John. They shoot 33% from three-point land. They're 87 for 264 on the year. The shooting edge appears on paper to go to Greenfield Central, but you know what? You're at home in Newcastle in the largest high school arena in the world, so maybe Newcastle might have a slight edge on the home court.
Yeah, and not only that, you're probably tired of losing close games these last couple of times out, and you have the advantage of playing in this awesome venue.
Indeed, and it's a beautiful venue. They've got a fantastic pep band that gets the crowd fired up here. Just a great place to play high school basketball for us, John. A great place to watch and broadcast a high school basketball game tonight.
The Newcastle Trojans are led by Daniel Cox. He has 135 wins and 94 losses in his 10th year at Newcastle. His roster is made up of 5 seniors, 5 juniors, a sophomore, and a freshman. And they will go with the starting 5 that looks like this. Tyson Lewis, a 6'3 junior, averaging 4 points and 3 rebounds a game. We'll go back to that in a second. But there's Luke Meredith, the head coach for Greenfield Central. And more on what he's done after I get you the Newcastle starting lineups, because he is a fantastic story in his own right. Clay Butler, a 5'9 junior, averaging 4 points, 2 assists. Ethan Hinton's a 6'2 senior, 14 points, 4 rebounds a game. Colin Taylor, 6'2 junior, 12 points, 2 boards, shoots 53% from the field. And Gavin Welch, the 6'6 senior, who is the team's leading scorer, 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. He's coming off a 20-point performance in his last outing. For Luke Meredith, his record at Greenfield Central, 49-31, and I think this needs to be mentioned, Rob, before we do the starters. This team was 4-20 in the 2018-2019 season. Luke Meredith comes in the year after that. The first season that he's there, they go 500, and ever since then they've had a winning record with him at the helm.
It's about building culture and getting your guys to do things your way, and Luke has obviously come in and done that. He's getting the guys at Greenfield Central to buy into his system and the way he wants to play basketball, and the results are evident on the floor, John.
Looking at their starting 5, Dylan Moles, 6'3 senior guard, 22 points, 4 assists per game. Shooting numbers for him simply astonishing, 52% from 3 and 65%. And there's a look at the conference standings that we just showed you, because Greenfield Central is 2-1, Newcastle 1-2. So if you're Newcastle, you don't want to necessarily say must win this early in the conference season, but you win this game, you catapult yourself further up the conference standings. You lose, and you drop your way further down. Rest of the starting 5 for Greenfield Central: Will DeJarnette, 6'3 senior forward, averaging 3 points, 6 rebounds. Tyler Kirchhoff, 6'1 senior guard, averaging 10 points, 3 assists. Braylon Mullins, a 6'4 sophomore guard, averaging 15 points and 6 rebounds. Then Braden Robertson, a 6'3 junior forward, averaging 3 points, 2 rebounds a game. The statistics for both teams to mention: Greenfield Central scores 61 points a game. They allow 43. They shoot 61% from the field, 30% from 3, and they're 72% at the line. They score 55 and allow 55. So looking at the edge for Greenfield Central a little bit, you mentioned the shooting edge, Rob. I think also only giving up 43 points a game. that shows you how competitive they've been defensively.
Well, it does indeed, and they're building their offense off of their defense. So you're holding teams to 40 points a ball game, John. That's barely 10 points in a quarter, and that's getting it done in an 8-minute quarter. So Greenfield Central certainly likes to translate that defense into offense, and they shoot the ball so well. They're able to put up big numbers on the offensive end. If they can play this game themselves up in the 60s, it's going to be the pace they want to play.
Also, too, we should mention Newcastle, even though they are a 3A team, they have been playing some squads that are classes above them. They lost to Anderson, who is a 4A school. They lost to Marion, a 4A school. They actually beat Fort Wayne South, a 4A school. So Richmond, they lost to them in overtime, 60-57 last week. So Newcastle's record, possibly, even though they're 7-6, maybe a little misleading by how good they've been.
Well, instantly enough, too, they lost at Connersville last week, 54-48 in overtime. I got to tell you, I know Kerry Brown very well, the head coach at Connersville. Kerry giving up 48 points. That's a lot for him. So Newcastle did something to get 48 against Kerry Brown's team. So, yeah, I think they've been run on some hard luck here. You pick up those 2 overtime games, all of a sudden you're sitting with a 9-4 record instead of 7-6, and it looks a lot different. So you don't just want to pay attention to these records tonight, or Greenfield could get snuck up on by this Newcastle team here at home.
I also love, too, that not every high school venue does this, where they dim the lights, they give the kids the opportunity to have a starting 5 introduction like this on their home floor. It makes you feel like it's not just a high school game. It feels bigger than this.
Absolutely, and this is the kind of atmosphere that players want to play in. You look over, John, in the student section, they all got their cell phones out with their cell phone lights on, with the lights off in the arena. It just makes it fun for these guys, and that atmosphere really gives them a home court advantage.
There was a girls contest before this one. The Greenfield Central Cougar girls defeated the Newcastle girls in the game prior to this. So this is a doubleheader for the folks in the Newcastle and Greenfield Central communities. And this is really a pretty good rivalry that these two teams have had over the years. One thing to mention, Newcastle has dominated this series in the last 35 years. They're 30-6 against Greenfield Central during that time. But in the last meeting on February 18th, almost a year ago, it was Greenfield Central winning that matchup 73-64. Now the opponents' records also heavily in favor of Newcastle, 82-63. Greenfield's opponents' records are 58-37. So if you go by that mark there, Newcastle's played the tougher schedule to this point.
Another reason you don't just want to look at the wins and loss records of the two teams.
Gavin Welch in the jump circle against Braylon Mullins. So if you're watching with us, Greenfield Central is in the dark black jerseys with the gold numbers, and Newcastle is in their home whites with the green numbers and letters.
That's Dan Morgan throwing it up there in the center circle.
You know all the officials, Rob?
Just that one. I know Dan. I do not know his partners tonight.
So Greenfield Central controls the opening tip. One thing to note about Dylan Moles, he got injured late in that game against Mount Vernon. A little bit of a concussion-like protocol that they put him in as Braylon Mullins hits the turnaround. He didn't finish the final 3 minutes, but he has cleared concussion protocol and is out there tonight. So that was a scary moment a week ago, but Moles able to get through that.
1-3-1 half-court trap by Greenfield Central here. Let's see how Newcastle handles this.
Taylor's been playing catch with Butler.
Typically you can get something in that high post, John. They're bringing someone to it right now.
Jump pass to Lewis. Needs help, and he turns it over.
Good deflection.
Mullins gets the steal. Clears it right to Robertson, and he decides to back it back out. Moles comes up to get it.
Newcastle stays man-to-man here. A little 2-1-2 set for Greenfield.
You mentioned that trap by Greenfield. When they trailed early against Mount Vernon, they went to that, and that defense allowed them to get back in the game. Moles thought he got fouled, but it's picked up off the bounce by Colin Taylor. Newcastle looking for their first points. And they give it right back as it's thrown up in the air and stolen out of there by Braden Robertson. Nice save by Kirchhoff. Moles on the attack. And he lost the handle. Ball loose, bodies everywhere. Nice job by Robertson to dig it out. And as soon as he did, Coach Luke Meredith for Greenfield Central calls a timeout. This is a second timeout and bobulated like that. I think a TO is a good call here, Rob.
It was a nice job by Luke Meredith to call it at the right time when his guys had their hands on it. It's loose right here, John. Now, when this young man picked it up down low, that's when Luke Meredith hollered a timeout when Robertson had it, and the official was on it, gave Luke the timeout. He saves the possession here for his ball club.
Robertson did not score any points against Mount Vernon, but he had a few steals, blocked a couple shots, and he does a lot of things that just don't show up in the stat sheet.
No doubt, and those kind of role players are huge for any team, John. You got to have guys who understand and are willing to do the dirty work. They're willing to play some defense, to box out and get some rebounds. Let's see what they run out of this timeout. Looks like, John, they're going to go 1-4 deep along the baseline with this inbounds.
Kirchhoff is the inbounder and lobs it out to DeJarnette. Newcastle definitely bringing out that man-to-man.
Yeah, Taylor trying to really keep the ball out of the hands of Moles there. Moles was able to get it, and once he gets it, you've got to make sure you got help side ready to come. This young man can certainly do some damage. They're face guarding him over there, John.
Mullins lets it fly. Fight for the rebound, won by Newcastle. Ethan Hinton pulls it in. Hinton coming off an 11-point performance in his last outing against Connorsville.
So Greenfield Central's changed now. Out of the timeout, they're playing a 3-2 zone, no longer in that 1-3-1 trap.
And for those of you who are 9-star viewers who have watched Greenfield Central a few times, that should not surprise you. Luke Meredith does not mind changing it, and there's a traveling violation on Colin Taylor.
Yeah, and if you're Daniel Cox right now for Newcastle, you got to be a little frustrated that you've had 3 offensive possessions ending in 3 turnovers. Haven't even shot the ball yet, John.
What's kind of that balance that you have to strike there, Rob, between passing it and knowing when to shoot?
Yeah, that's a good question, and you want to get good shots, but and there's a turnover, the first of the night for Greenfield if we're talking about turnovers. But, you know, I think it depends on if you're trying to play an up-tempo game or trying to control the tempo. But I was an up-tempo guy, John. I grew up on the philosophy from my dad, if you pass 3 times, you're stalling. Now, we weren't quite that bad, but, you know, I wanted to get up and down the floor a little bit.
Butler weaving his way through traffic, needs help, finds Welch.
Back to the 1-3-1 for Greenfield Central.
Taylor in the corner, finds an open shooter, and he knocks it down. Ethan Hinton, and he can certainly hit that. He's a 44% three-point shooter from the outside.
That baseline is one of the areas of the 1-3-1 trap that there can be a weakness. If you move the ball and get it down there, you've only got one man trying to guard that entire baseline.
Moles gets the handoff from DeJarnette.
Good switch off on him as well. Nice job by the defense for Newcastle. That was Lewis who made the switch.
You can tell they're really keying in on Moles, and on the other side, Greenfield Central making sure Welch doesn't get very many touches, and Moles is called for the offensive foul.
That's just an excellent job by Colin Taylor, getting position, staying in front of his man. You're going to see it again here, John. And he had position, and it was Moles who created the contact, and he picks up the charging foul.
That's the first foul of the game on either team. Greenfield Central opts to bring that pressure up, and it works. Mullins extended that arm, and pass was errant from Clay Butler.
They came with 3-quarter court pressure, kind of a 1-2-2 variety that time. 4th turnover now on the Newcastle Trojans. Played half a quarter, John. It's a 3-2 game. It's a really low-scoring contest so far.
Kirchhoff. Stop and go down the lane, up and in, he got it.
Really nice move by Kirchhoff. I love the way he controlled his body, went up off 2 feet from that left block and got the basket.
Taylor tried to get around Mullins again. That length of Mullins has been a problem for Newcastle.
What a great athlete to have on the top of that 1-3-1. Brayton Mullins, that 6'4" frame, long arms, makes it tough on the guards passing the basketball.
Moles gets the screen from DeJarnette through the lane. Back to DeJarnette, and he got open and scored.
Nice pass to set him up down there, and a good job that time by DeJarnette to go up strong from the right side.
3rd different Greenfield Central player to score in the early going of this one. Butler almost walked with it. Out to Taylor for 3. Fight for the rebound. Out of bounds it goes. Off of Newcastle, they say. Greenfield Central basketball.
Interestingly enough, the Trojans are shooting 50% on the game, 1 for 2 from 3. They've only gotten 2 shots up in the first, 5 minutes of this contest.
Also, too, Greenfield Central has only played 2 games since this is just their second game since the Christmas break. They played Rushville on December 21st, then didn't have a game till January 6th, and then waited a week until this one. Mullins fires a 3, and the rebound dug out of there by Lewis, but then had it taken away by DeJarnette. Here's Moles slashing in and
nice
scoring.
Yeah.
Fourth different Greenfield Central player to get a bucket.
That's defense becoming offense there. We talked about it in the pregame show, John. They used their defense to create points. Moles did a great job going up strong from the left side. He thought he got fouled as 2. The official said, no, sir. Take your 2 and be happy with it.
8-3. Newcastle's lead is 5 as we come up on 2 minutes to play, and Mullins again swats that one away.
John, right now as I watch Newcastle attack this trap, I just feel like they're being content to pass the ball back and forth across the perimeter. They're not attacking this trap, so therefore Greenfield Central is not losing anything by playing it. If you can move the ball a little quicker, get it into your high post, turn and look opposite, make this defense have to cover some more ground, you're going to find some openings and be able to get to the basket.
Landon Thompson just checked in for Newcastle. Butler on the drive.
There you go.
And up shot goes from Ethan Hinton, and Hinton has all 5 points here early for Newcastle. 8-5 Greenfield Central.
John Hinton split 2 defenders there and was able to find an opening about 10 feet away and did the smart thing by going up off the backboard there to knock that one in for 2.
Mullins, handoff Moles, off his foot it goes, and then it gets touched by Welch. They go down to get it, jump ball, possession arrow is with Newcastle. So good hustle by Welch to knock that one away. It's like best player versus best player there going after it.
Indeed, good hustle. I like what both guys were doing there, but it goes down as a turnover for Greenfield Central. That's their 3rd turnover here in the contest.
Colin Taylor inbounds and gets it right back. And there comes the trap of Greenfield, and it almost leads to a steal. Maybe it does. Ball's kicked loose, and now it goes off the foot of Colin Taylor. And that trap is just working wonders right now for Luke Meredith's team.
For 7 turnovers already in the first quarter for Newcastle. And John, 5 or 6 of them have come right out there between the center circle and the 3-point stripe. They're just not getting enough penetration, not getting the basketball deep down in the front court.
Mullins inbounds. Now Moles has got it. It's an 8-5 lead for Greenfield Central. They got behind 3-2, and then since then they've outscored Newcastle 6-2. Owen Anderson, newcomer off the bench into the game, and that had it swatted out of his hands by Thompson. Thompson was calling for it the other way. Welch a 3. Rebounded, scooped out by Kirchhoff. Less than a minute to go in the first quarter. Down the lane he goes. Kirchhoff attacks, shoots, misses. Rebound by Thompson. Foul on Greenfield Central.
Yeah, it might have been a little bit of a rush shot for Greenfield Central. I don't feel like Luke Meredith is real happy with that choice that time down the floor. It wasn't an uncontested shot, kind of a tough look. And that'll give it back to Newcastle with less than a minute to play here in the quarter.
That foul's against Jake Hinton, a 6'3 junior forward off the bench. He averages 3 points, 2 rebounds a game.
There's good ball movement.
Can he hit this for the tie? Yes. Ethan Hinton, he's done all the scoring for Newcastle, and he ties this game up at 8 with 28 seconds left in the first.
John, that's the best job they've done against that trap, moving the basketball. It went all the way from one quarter.
Now they go to work. Owen Anderson's got it. 6 seconds. Mullins driving in, stops in trouble, kicks it out. Anderson for 3, got it!
Beautiful.
And that does it right before the horn sounds. 5 different Greenfield Central players score, and they lead 11-8 as we head to the second. You're watching high school boys basketball on 9 Star TV.
We are really heavily involved in the community, so there are multiple different volunteer opportunities that we can go and do.
Volunteer time to share their time and talents with organizations that need not only monetary assistance, but just people's time to help those organizations grow and thrive.
9-Star is a different kind of company, and the difference is you.
The Newcastle Trojans at 1-2 in the HHC against the Greenfield Central Cougars, who are 2-1 in the Hoosier Heritage Conference. Conference positioning on the line in this one. Greenfield Central leads it 11-8 over Newcastle as we head to the second quarter. Along with Rob Moorhead, I'm John Herrick. Rob, totally different ways for these teams to get to the scores where they're at. Greenfield Central has 5 different players get in the scoring column, and for Newcastle, they had only 1 player score, and that was Ethan Hinton getting all 8 points.
Yeah, Hinton got open a couple of times on the baseline of that 1-3-1, and that's where those shots are going to come from. The 1-3-1 caused Newcastle to turn it over 7 times, but on the positive side, John, Newcastle's man-to-man defense in the half court has been very, very good so far in this first quarter.
Moles trying to shake free, and does, and knocks it in. So good at that. Even when he's got pressure on him, he finds a way to wiggle free, and it's 5-0 run for Greenfield Central. How does Newcastle react? Well, they nearly turned it over, but picked up by Thompson.
Yeah, they're really a little helter-skelter right now. They got to get in attack mode against this 1-3-1 trap. That's just such a tough matchup for Newcastle out top with the 5'9" Butler going up against the 6'4" frame of the point man out there in Braden Mullins. Now they got good ball movement. There's penetration opportunity. Knocked out of bounds. That's off Greenfield Central. Dan Morgan says keep it here with the Newcastle Trojans.
But at least they were starting to get ball movement that time.
And some penetration opportunities, and those opportunities are there if you can attack this trap a little bit.
Butler has to inbound it, nearly
Nice
threw
catch.
it away, but a nice dig up out of there by Landon Thompson. And finally, somebody other than Ethan Hinton has scored a basket for Newcastle.
That was a tough play that time, and the young man did a nice job going up there and getting it and handling the basketball. Good job by Landon Thompson.
Comes in and hits his first 2 of the season, pushing the Greenfield Central lead back to 9.
He's 100%, John. You got to love that. Now a little 2-2-1 3-quarter court press here. Well, maybe a 1-2-2 type 3-quarter court press, a deflection and a turnover.
If they could run they'll figure out a way to run a 7-5-3 press. I mean, that's how they make it seem. They make it seem like there's so many more players out there than there actually are.
Those long wingspans. Nice.
And Anderson with a nice dump off to Hinton, lost it, got it back. And they whistle and say it's staying here, so that means a foul on Newcastle. I think they get Lewis. Yep, that's his first, and that's the 5th on Newcastle with 21 seconds remaining. Hinton comes out, and back onto the floor, DeJarnette. Robertson's got to get it in. Finds Mullins. Dylan Moles came out with 1:45 to go in the second quarter with his second foul. He has 7 points in the first half, but it's Tyler Kirchhoff leading Greenfield Central with 9. Kirchhoff going down the lane. He scores again.
Kirchhoff, a little hesitation move, little stop and go. Got to the rim.
2-1. They do get it off in time, but Colin Taylor just to the left as we end the first half of play. 29-18. Greenfield Central leading it at the half. Rob Moorhead and I will have the second half from Newcastle when we come back after this. You're watching high school boys basketball on 9-Star TV.
9-Star is very focused on customer and member care, focused on making sure that however we communicate with the member and customer is how they want to communicate.
You know, sometimes we're the one person that they speak to in a day, and you want that conversation to be happy and pleasant.
As a nonprofit co-op, we're focused on providing the best service we can for our members.
9-Star is a different kind of company, and the difference is you.
It is an 11-point lead at the half for the Greenfield Central Cougars on 9-Star TV. Along with Rob Moorhead, I'm John Herrick. Thank you so much for being with us on this Friday night for high school boys basketball in the great state of Indiana. Some individual scoring in that first half for Greenfield Central. They had 6 different players score. Tyler Kirchhoff had 11 points to lead the way, 7 points for Dylan Moles, although he did pick up 2 fouls, 5 points for Owen Anderson, and 2 points each for Braylon Mullins, Braden Robertson, and Will DeJarnette. For Newcastle, they were led by Ethan Hinton, who has 13, and 3 for Colin Taylor, 2 for Landon Thompson. So you look at the situation for Newcastle, Rob, down 11. Ethan Hinton's clearly playing out of his mind right now, but he's going to need some help in the second half if Newcastle's going to make a run.
He is going to need some help, John, and they're going to have to do it on the offensive end, getting a little more urgency, if you will, against that 1-3-1 trap and really trying to attack that thing, move the ball a little quicker to create some opportunities on offense where the defense has trouble with rotations. Look, I got some team statistics for you,
Sure,
John.
go ahead.
From an unofficial standpoint, Greenfield was 9 for 15 from two-point range for 60%. They were also 60% from 3, making 3 out of 5 attempts, 100% from the free throw line, and have 6 turnovers in the game. For Newcastle, 4 for 6 from the two-point line for 67%, 4 for 9 from 3 for 44%. They have yet to get to the free throw line. Newcastle holds an advantage rebounding-wise, 10-3 unofficially here, but the reason there's only 3 rebounds for Greenfield Central is Newcastle didn't take that many shots. They didn't miss that many shots because they had so many turnovers. 9 turnovers for Newcastle compared to 6 for Greenfield Central. So Greenfield Central's got to feel good about where they are. It'll be interesting to see which of their many defenses they will rely on, but until Newcastle showed me they could do something against this 1-3-1 trap, I believe if I'm on the bench with Luke Meredith, I'm going to have to come back with that.
Gavin Welch inbounds for Newcastle. That was another big storyline in the first half. Welch is the team leader in scoring, 17 points along with 6 rebounds and 3 assists, but he did not score. He did take a couple threes but missed them. So Newcastle's going to have to try to get him involved here.
Here's the 1-3-1.
Butler looking for help. It's Clay Butler, Tyson Lewis, Ethan Hinton, Colin Taylor, Gavin Welch, the starting 5 out there for Newcastle.
Good movement.
3 by Butler. Chase rebound, and it's dragged down by Welch for the offensive board. Lewis lets it fly too hard off the backboard. Braylon Mullins the rebound. It is Mullins, Dylan Moles, also Will DeJarnette, Tyler Kirchhoff, and also Braden Robertson, as that possession doesn't go Greenfield's way.
A little quicker start here, quicker pace so far here in the second half. So the first possession, it was the 1-3-1 trap. Second possession, now they're in the 3-2. Both of these zones, John, they play them very wide. The wing guys are outside the three-point stripe on each side.
Taylor trying to create something, has to back it out.
Tells me there's opportunities to penetrate gaps, John. You want to see your offensive guys go into a gap, make 2 guys guard them, and then get a kick out in a rotation.
Hinton to Taylor again. Welch is trying to get open. He's trying to come up and set a screen.
And that pie post will be open if Welch will drop into that middle gap area.
But he fell down, as Taylor misses that. It was Hinton who fell down, and after that he chases this ball down, though.
Good job on the offensive glass. 3 on the way.
So finally Gavin Welch gets one to go down. Looked like a busted play there, but it works out Newcastle's way as they cut that deficit down to single digits. Dylan Moles tries to change that, though, and he quickly does on the other side. He's got 9.
That can be discouraging, John, when you work so hard to get your basket on the offensive end. Then on the defensive end, you have a guy like Dylan Moles who can just blow right by and get you to the rim.
Left comes Hinton, lets it fly too hard. Welch mistimed it, almost had the offensive board, but Moles gets it. To Mullins for 3, bullseye.
Huge.
Braylon Mullins, his first basket since the first quarter. That gives him 5. And Greenfield Central now with their biggest lead of the night at 13.
42% three-point shooter coming in. He looked really good on that one, John. You know, John, they're not so much trapping out of this. You and I talked about it during halftime. It's almost that 1-3-1 lane zone. Really out wide in the passing lanes as the shot's missed and a defensive rebound for Greenfield Central.
Taylor couldn't get that. Mullins the rebound, and he immediately slows it up. One thing you don't want to do against Greenfield Central, I've noticed, is get behind. If you do, they know how to ball control you to death and use the clock, and you know they're trying to do that now with a double-digit lead. Moles Normally he might try to take that step back three, but he's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, he's showing good patience and discipline tonight, John.
Mullins comes up to help him. Zips it into Mullins. What a find.
Yeah, that's just a fantastic pass, a great little ball screen and roll. Nice job on the roll. The defenders didn't go with him, and he drew the defense to him and then just zipped the ball. You called it perfectly. Zipped it in there inside for the wide open layup.
7 for Mullins. That's the 3rd assist of the game so far for Dylan Moles. Tyson Lewis, not a good pass inside, stolen by Kirchhoff. 3-on-2, layup, good for Dylan Moles.
John, he makes that look easy. That was a tough shot going underneath the basket for the reverse layup off of that catch. Young man made it look easy, and a 17-point advantage here for Greenfield Central.
And this is a 30-second timeout called by Newcastle's head coach Daniel Cox as he tries to feverishly draw something up. Nice play by Kirchhoff here to get his hand in the passing lane, and the lane has always been his friend, and whenever he finds a way to get in there, Dylan Moles the other side, it's a tough match. Newcastle 9-3 to begin this 3rd quarter. It was an 11-point lead at the half, and now it's been pushed up to 17.
And you can just see there on that replay, John, as Moles is catching that pass, his momentum is taking him toward the baseline, and he has to contort his body to reach back around with that right hand going to the left side and have enough skill to put that off the backboard and lay it in. The young man, you can see why he's being recruited the way that he is. 22 points a ball game, having himself a nice night tonight.
This is the 2nd game of a 4-game road stand for Greenfield Central, and they have managed it well.
Nice take.
Layup, good. Good play out of the timeout for Ethan Hinton. He has 15 now of Newcastle's 23.
That's an example where they made Greenfield pay for pressing them. Greenfield came out with a 3-quarter court press that time, and Hinton made him pay by scoring off the back end of it.
Mullins from the right side this time, his 2nd 3 of the game. So Mullins was quiet all first half, and here in the 2nd half, he's got 8 of his 10 points.
Yeah, it looks good doing it too, John. Very confident.
In trouble is Taylor, had it swiped away, but looks like we have a reach-in foul on Greenfield Central, and that is on Dylan Moles. Moles just picked up his 3rd. That's the first foul in the 2nd half on either team.
Yeah, that's probably a little frustrating for Luke Meredith as you're going to see it here. And, John, he's 42 feet from the basket there. You know, if you're going to pick up that 3rd foul, you don't want to pick it up that far away from the basket, and I believe he's going to take a seat here with that 3rd foul.
Yep, Owen Anderson checks in for Moles. Of course, you've got to feel comfortable doing that when you're ahead by 18. Now the question for Newcastle is, where does the offense come from? It's been mostly Ethan Hinton, but he makes a bad pass here around the defender. It gets knocked away. Then now the ball is loose and a timeout called by Luke Meredith. Heads up again. Another nice, again, I just got to say, I've said this a lot on 9-Star TV this year. Rob, Luke Meredith just does so many smart things as a coach. And right there's another example. He sees that possession going badly, and he saves it by calling a timeout.
He does, and he's done that twice tonight and saved 2 possessions for his team. John, I also want to talk about the job Braylon Mullins is doing on the top of that 1-3-1. He's so long and so athletic out there. And, John, a lot of times you teach defense, ball, your man, but the defender is staying between his man, the ball, and the basket. On this 1-3-1, if you'll look, 90% of the time out at the top, Braden Mullins has his back parallel to the sideline. So he is trying to keep them from reversing that ball. He's trying to split the court in half and say, you're only going to play on one half of this court, and we're only going to have to defend one half. And he really does a great job at the top of that zone defense.
That's the Greenfield Central student section you were looking at there. Of course, all smiles from them. Touch pass out to Mullins. Not this time. Welch the rebound. Welch trying to push. Lost the ball off his foot. Taylor picks it up, though. Taylor with the runner in the lane, and he got it. Taylor's 2nd basket of the night. Now, can that be the spark that helps catapult Newcastle here?
That's a nice job by Taylor. Right place at the right time and staying with the play. And now after I did all that talking, they've switched.
And Mullins, risky pass the other way. Boatwright comes up with a steal.
Newcastle switched over to a 1-3-1 out of their man-to-man.
And Taylor knocks it down. Colin Taylor out of that timeout. 2 quick baskets, and it's down to a 13-point lead.
So they're saying, you've got your 1-3-1 working against us. We're going to try our 1-3-1 against you. Let's see how Greenfield Central attacks it.
Mullins slides it back out, and they reset. Dylan Moles picked up his third foul. He's out of the game for the moment. We'll see how long he stays on the bench. Anderson dumps it inside to Desjardins, who clears space and somehow gets it to roll in. And it is a 15-point lead for Greenfield Central, and Luke Meredith this time calls a full timeout. 4 points for Desjardins, a 15-point lead for Greenfield Central. They've led by as many as 17. So let's go inside both huddles right now, Rob. But clearly, I mean, even though Greenfield Central leads by 15, something Luke Meredith may not like here.
Couple of things. He didn't like the way their defense responded out of the timeout, giving up those quick 5 points. And I also think he wants to put something together here against this 1-3-1. They got a nice basket there, but it was a little sloppy in the way that it happened, and I think he wants to make sure he's got his team doing what he wants them to do against this half-court trap that Newcastle is playing. On the other side, again, you go in the huddle with Daniel Cox, and he's talking about, hey, guys, we're down 15. We've got to score, and we got to put together scores and stops. Can we get our defense to create some offense for us here? And that's something we haven't seen a lot of tonight, John. Not many run-out baskets for Newcastle where they've picked up a steal and are able to transition that into baskets on the other end. Not much transition in general. They're always having to come down and play against this half-court defense of Greenfield Central. Let's see what they're able to do now out of this timeout.
Boat right inbounds.
Just look at the top here of this zone, John, and see how Braylon Mullins is, how he's parallel to the sideline. And he gets a steal.
Yep, knocks it away, and he ends up throwing it off the hands of Hinton, but they give it right back. Kirchhoff picks it up. Moles back in the game, a three. Rebounded by Welch. Heaves it up the floor to Hinton. Hinton attacks and lays it in.
And that's what we were talking about, John, a little run-out opportunity.
17 for Ethan Hinton, the lead back to 13 at 43-30.
So if you're Newcastle, what if we could get this under double digits going into the fourth quarter? That's what they got to be thinking.
Anderson thought about it, decided to pass it up.
Wow.
Kirchhoff, he does more than think about it. He buries his second three of the night. He's got 14 points, Rob.
John, that was about 23 feet. I mean, he was deep on that three. Young man's been impressive tonight.
Looking at my map here, yeah, he shot that from Fort Wayne. That's where he was. I mean, he was way out there. Mullins, another steal from the top of the zone. Layup missed by Moles. And nice job there by Anderson to get the rebound. He knew he was going to get fouled, so he threw the ball up, and he's going to the line.
The word that comes to mind right there is basketball IQ. The young man knew where he was on the floor. He knew the situation. He gets that offensive rebound. He's like, I got the guy up in the air. I'm going to draw this foul, so let's go up with a shot. And it's exactly what he did.
Anderson hasn't taken too many free throws this year. He's 4 of 5 as he converts that one. Back in for Greenfield Central, Jake Hinton. He comes in for Desjardins. The second free throw from Anderson got the roll. Everything seems to be rolling Greenfield Central's way right now as they lead by 18 now. Their new biggest lead of the contest. Newcastle did lead once. That's when it was 3-2, though, very early in the first quarter. Taylor from way out. I think maybe somebody got a piece of that.
It was Mullins. And John, I can't say enough the difference that young man is making at the top of this zone. He was pinning the defender on the far side, on the right side over there. When they transitioned it over to the left, he was able to come across those long arms and deflect the shot.
Mullins is going to get a breather here for the final 52.9.
He deserves that.
And they do give him the shot attempt on this foul.
Yeah, Colin Taylor. Colin's been trying to attack here in the third quarter. I like what we've seen out of him. He did a nice job taking this ball strong down the lane, drawing the contact, go to the free throw line here. And John, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first 2 free throws for Newcastle tonight.
Yes, correct it is. And Colin Taylor, a 78% free throw shooter, makes that. That foul was on Braden Robertson, his first and the team's second in this second half of play. And Taylor gets them both. He averages 12 points a game. He's got 10, and he only had 3 in the first half. Welch, by the way, just 3 points for Newcastle, their leading scorer.
Newcastle shoots around 10 free throws a game. They've only shot 2 here and almost 40 seconds left in the third quarter.
A lot of that credit goes to Greenfield Central's defense,
Amen.
like we've been talking about. Their trap has been fantastic. Anderson tries to get around Thompson. Attacks, shoots, misses, offensive foul on Anderson.
Yeah, you got to give credit to the Newcastle defense that time. Great help side by Ethan Hinton. Got in the paint, absorbed the contact, did a nice job drawing that charge and forcing the turnover. Here you're going to see him, John. He's definitely set, takes the contact, and goes backwards. Guess who's checked back in? Braden Mullins on the top of that zone.
Thought they might leave him out for the end of the quarter, but no, they've brought him back in. Hinton left to Boatwright. Risky pass, nearly stolen by Moles. Welch was like behind the backboard and hit the side of it. Moles up ahead. He gets fouled. The ball goes in. And one opportunity for the man who's going to Marion University next year.
Yeah, nice job by Moles that time. Scott Hetty's going to enjoy having him. This is a nice catch. Now watch him going up strong, eyes on the rim, able to keep the basketball extended out in his left hand, takes it high off the glass, absorbs the contact, and gets fouled.
Quentin Boatwright picks that foul up. That is his second. Moles converts the free throw. 51-32.
With only 3 seconds left here, Greenfield Central going to bring the full court here. Make sure Newcastle has to throw it in short, which they do.
Hinton gets a lot of position up the floor, but leaves it short as the third quarter draws to a close. All Greenfield Central. They lead 51-32 as we go to the fourth. You're watching high school boys basketball on 9 Star TV.
My name is Patty Potty, and I'd like to talk to you about all those kinds of convenience products. People are flushing down the toilet, clogging up our sewer system, and causing expensive repair bills. They might flush down, but they sure don't flush out. Make sure you trash them. Don't flush them, only flush the 3 P's. Pee, poo, and paper. Toilet paper, that is. And remember, no wipes in those pipes.
This important message was brought to you by 9 Star Connect, your water and sewer provider.
Fourth quarter about to begin from the historic Newcastle Fieldhouse in Newcastle, Indiana. Basketball Hall of Fame right down the road from here. The Hoosier Gymnasium not far from here either. And it's been a fantastic night for the Greenfield Central Cougars, off to their best start in 20 years. 8-1 on the season, closing in on win number 9 unless Newcastle can come up with a huge rally to begin the fourth quarter. Along with Rob Moorhead, I'm John Herrick with you. And Newcastle's offense started to get a lot better. They did score 14 points in that third quarter. The problem was, though, Greenfield Central scored 22, and their offense is really starting to pick it up.
It is, and I think it's all being developed off of their defense, John. I just can't say enough about how impressed I am with Greenfield Central's defense tonight. They're so well disciplined, and that's a credit to Luke Meredith. These guys know where to go. And right here, John, they did the little okey-doke, and made everyone think they were going the other way. The Newcastle defense bit, and Greenfield Central gets a wide open shot out of their first possession.
Jake Hinton's the one who scores it. Then he pokes the ball away, leads to a steal, gets it back. Dylan Moles, layup, yes, plus the foul. What a job this Greenfield Central offense does off of their defense. They've now had 7 different players score in the game. This foul's on Ethan Hinton, his second, and the team's third.
John, I haven't seen anybody do that quarter trick that they just did there last time. They bring everybody out and run them to the defensive end of the floor. Only 2 guys down on the offensive end, and it works for them to get a basket, and then they get the steal and a 3-point play, and now they're up by 24.
17 points for Dylan Moles after the made free throw. Good run inside for Landon Thompson. Gets that one to drop. He's got 4. 56-34, Greenfield Central.
Look at this. They're going to go man-to-man, see if they can heat something up here to try to get back in this ball game.
That's kind of like going full circle, isn't it? They started the game that way.
Yep.
Went to a couple traps, tried some zone defenses. Both these teams have tried to throw different defenses at each other. which makes sense because they're both in the same conference. Hoosier Heritage Conference play. You got a lot of familiarity between each other. Some of these guys have played against each other in a lot of different formats or leagues. And Mullins is fouled here. They get this one on Ethan Hinton. That is his third and the team's fourth.
John, you look out there at this Greenfield Central Ball Club. There's not a guy out there that cannot handle a basketball. And so they're spreading this defense 5 out. They're no post player. They've been running 5 out. As I say that, they bring a guy into the high post, but they've been running 5 out here. Everybody able to catch the ball and see what they can make happen. And they're going to be very patient with this big lead. And now they're going to bounce out into this. Look at that.
And Hinton has an opening. Goaltend. Yeah, Welch got over there to swat it, but not before it was too late. Jake Hinton hadn't scored in the first 3 quarters. He's got 4 here in this one. And Robertson checks out.
Again, John, you put a guy in the high post that can handle the basketball. He catches it, and then he's able to fake a handoff and turn and spin, and next thing you know, he's got a wide open layup. They're going to dance with who brung them on this end on defense. Stay with that 1-3-1.
Desjarnette back in for Greenfield Central. 3 on the way. Knocked down by Colin Taylor, his third 3-pointer. So he and Hinton both in double figures. The two of them have 30 of Newcastle's 37.
Really, Taylor's been a bright spot for Newcastle here in the second half, John. He's kept fighting the entire time.
Kirchhoff misses. The follow try doesn't go down either. But there is a foul on Newcastle's Colin Taylor. That is his second, Newcastle's 5th team foul. So Desjarnette goes to the line.
Yeah, I've really been impressed tonight with the play of Tyler Kirchhoff. The 6'1 senior guard averages 9 points a game, and he's done a nice job in many facets of this ball game tonight for Greenfield Central.
Desjarnette with his first free throw to go down. That gives him 5 points on the night. And as you see on your screen there, he's normally not a great free throw shooter, 45%, but he was fantastic on those 2.
John, at the risk of the broadcaster jinx, I have Greenfield 8 for 8 from the free throw line tonight.
Yeah, that is correct. They haven't missed. And Newcastle has only taken 2 free throw attempts, and they've hit them both. 3 from the corner by Welch. It's just not been his night. Just 3 points. He's only made 1 of his 3-point attempts. And he's missed several others. Moles driving, shooting, and scoring.
Yeah, you're in a position right now that's going to be hard to guard if you let Moles have that opportunity. And again, that's why Greenfield likes to go with this 5 out on the half court. They got multiple guys that can handle the basketball and get it to the rim.
No rest for the weary for either of these teams, by the way. Newcastle plays Rushville right back here tomorrow night, as that one is off the mark from Ethan Hinton. And rebound by Mullins and a foul. I think this is on Boatwright. It is. Quentin Boatwright with his 3rd, team 6th. So 1 more foul by Newcastle means bonus free throws for Greenfield Central as Moles brings it up.
Now you get a look at this 5 out, John. You can see where they got guys in 5 spots all around the court. Now they're going to be patient and look for opportunities to drive and dish.
Moles flips it to the corner. Normally that'd be a time where you think about shooting, but when you got the clock in the lead, why do that?
And one more thing, Luke Meredith standing right over your shoulder.
He sees you take that shot, he's going to be pretty mad.
That would convince me.
But Mullins, he knows that's his shot. He's hit one from the left, the right corner, the top of the circle. That's his 3rd 3 of the night. 13 points for Braylon Mullins.
You play defense the way Braylon Mullins has tonight, you got to get rewarded with a little bit on the offensive end too.
Taylor from the left side.
Yep.
That is his 4th 3. That was a rainbow. My gosh.
Especially here in the second half, Taylor has really been a bright spot for the Newcastle offense.
Problem for them, it's been Taylor and Hinton and really nobody else.
Nice
Give and go, and now it's Jake Hinton scoring it. This is not the way the game started. We were playing at very half-court, slow pace, and now it's like both teams are getting up and down. Another impressive outing here for Greenfield Central. Again, they came in scoring 61 a game. They've got 67. Boatwright offline on that shot. Welch able to get the offensive board. Welch tries to weave his way back inside, steps on the line, turnover on the Trojans.
That's unfortunate. That guy's just an unforced turnover. He's trying to do the right thing and try to attack the basket, but got a little too deep on the baseline, and it looks at this point, John, like Daniel Cox is going to wholesale sub here in this final 3 minutes.
Yep, and I think at the next dead ball you will see Greenfield Central do the same thing. Teeing it up and firing it is Hinton. Offline on that.
That was a nice pass by Moles to get it out there to him.
Welch even had a decent look that time. Save try by Hinton, and he accidentally throws it towards the ref. And here we go, wholesale substitutions like we mentioned, and brand new lineup in there.
Kind of feel for Welch tonight, John. It's just been a
Yeah.
frustrating night for him on that Newcastle offense. And credit again the Greenfield Central defense for that.
Dylan Moles' night is done. Same thing with Tyler Kirchhoff and Braylon Mullins. So it's Owen Anderson. Dallas Freeman is now in the game. Robertson spins and got it. Robertson got his 4. And let's give you the Newcastle lineup. It is Bradley Henderson. A 3 does not go down from Cole Johnson, a 6'2 senior, 3 points in his last game. Caden Blackford, a 6'1 junior, wearing number 33 in white. 3 by Freeman. Off target, rebounded by Johnson. Also out there for Newcastle, Isaac Madden. And a 3-try knockdown.
Caden Blackford, the junior, gets that one, John.
Good to see him come off the bench and get in some action. Last year, this was a 9-point win for Greenfield Central. Just goes to show you how much they have improved on the season from end of last year to this year. Anderson driving with a kick. 3 by Kirchhoff. Yes. Tyler Kirchhoff, 17 points, 3 threes on the night. That pushes the lead to 29. Newcastle fans heading to the exit.
John, Greenfield Central in that tough 4A sectional with Anderson, New Pal, Mount Vernon. It's going to be a tough run, but I like what I've seen out of this team tonight.
Cole Johnson, who hit a 3 last time. That was against Connorsville. And more subs coming in for Greenfield Central. They bring in Boston Willard, who's playing in now his 4th game of the season. And Nathan Gasparini, who hasn't gotten a ton of time. 6-foot senior guard. He just got in his 5th game now. 1:15 remaining. Greenfield Central goes to 9-1. They'll be 3-1 in the HHC. Newcastle dropping to 7-7. They'll be 1-3 in conference play.
John, you got New Pal 12-0, Richmond 10-3, Greenfield Central now 9-1, Anderson 7-3, Muncie Central 7-2, Mount Vernon Fortville 7-5. That is a tough sectional. They're sectional 9 in Class 4A.
I think a lot of that will have to do with the draw. Whoever gets that first round bye, that'll help.
Indeed.
Because whoever you play in the first round of it, it's going to be a tough matchup no matter who it is.
7-teamer there.
Also, congratulations to Luke Meredith in his 4th year. This is his 50th career win. He probably doesn't care that much about that, but
he will one day. I mean, those are milestones, John, no doubt about it. And I'm just very impressed watching his ball club play tonight.
Their defense has been spectacular, led to a lot of their offense. Foul there on Bradley Henderson, his 1st, and that is the 7th team foul, so bonus with 14.7 to go, putting Anderson at the line.
You know, John, you've heard of that game, 6 Degrees from Kevin Bacon. You've helped me in a different game the broadcasters play, and it's Degrees from Don Fisher. And I feel like tonight, working with you here, I'm 1 degree from Don Fisher. How's that?
Yeah, I'll get to see him tomorrow. I'll be sure to tell you that. I'll be sure to tell him you said that.
Tell Don I said that. Tell him I said ho-ho. Don won't remember. Back in the day, used to have a radio show on Eagle 99.3 down in Aurora during this time of the year, a coach's show, but I was able to get Don to join us on a broadcast one night, a coach's show broadcast. It's a fantastic job.
And Mason Miller, 6-foot freshman, able to get that basket to go down. That does it from Newcastle. The Greenfield Central Cougars continue their outstanding start, winning 9 of their first 10 games. The final here, they win at 73-48. Newcastle, a lot of young faces on this team, and simply just ran into a much better Greenfield Central team tonight. Rob, your final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Final thoughts, the Greenfield defense really set the tone in this, playing that very widespread 1-3-1. Credit to Braylon Mullins, a great job on the defensive end, and Dylan Moles, who proved why he is going to be an impact player at Marion University. He had a nice game tonight for Greenfield Central. Congrats to Luke Meredith on his 50th career coaching victory, and I think there's a few more in his future, John.
Yes, definitely. 73-48, the final. Big thanks to Rob Moorhead and John Painter, who leads this 9-star crew. For all those fine folks, I'm John Herrick saying so long from Newcastle Fieldhouse. Your final score for the final time, Greenfield Central 73, Newcastle 48. This has been high school boys basketball on 9-Star TV.